Welcome back to another Pawn Mass video, and today let's check out the new Grusha Cetitan that's dropping later tonight at reset, which I probably will be pulling for tomorrow morning, noon / time, I don't know. So yeah, let's check this unit out, and you know, honestly, I feel like maybe I was a bit too harsh on this unit initially looking at it, and you know, having a deeper dive into the unit. To prep for this video, I feel like, I don't know, I'm a bit warmer, or warming up to this unit, or I guess in this case, freezing together with this unit a bit more. I don't know, that's weird, but anyways, it's ice type. So yeah, Grusha and Cetitan, it's a support unit, right? And let's look at some other things that it does well, and some things that it doesn't, right? So first of all, it's a 3 MP ice zone unit, which in of itself is pretty valuable, right? So you have your train move over here, which gives you ice zone, right? And then the reason why it's 3 MP, because you have 2 uses over here, but then you also have trainer sync redemption, right? So if you use one before your first sync, you get another one back, so you get like 3 basically, which is nice, right? It doesn't have NPR, right? So you can't just try to RNG your way into like 5 ice zones, but you at least get guaranteed, basically, right? You get guaranteed 3 at 3 out of 5, right? So that's that to start, and then it is a good tank and a great physical tank. So it is mainly. It's more of a physical tank than it's special, but the special part isn't that bad either. Like it's not like a massive difference. So I like EX, right? So they're both defenses are the same, 337, 146 REX, and then your HP is very, very, very high, right? That's almost 800 HP, which is a lot. So high defenses, high HP, right? That's just straight up, just obviously really, really, really good for a tank, right? And then your trainer move over here, right, gives you defense and special defense +2 for your entire team, right? So far it looks pretty balanced, right? And trainer sync reduction, you get that to +6 for your entire team on the physical and special side. The part where it does lean a bit towards more of a physical tank is the passive over here, right? Which Fear the Snowy Mountain, which reduces the physical attack move damage taken by allies when the zone is an ice zone. So yeah, this one's just only physical damage reduction, not no special damage reduction. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure how much this reduction is. If it's just like 10%, then it's not that big of a difference. If it's something like 30% or like 40%, then that's kind of huge, right? But yeah, there's that. And as for other tanking attributes, you got impervious, right? So you can have the opponents just debuffing your defenses. Obviously that's gonna help, right? Among other things, but mainly defenses, I'd say. I guess also speed. But yeah, outside of that, you also have stuff like first sync move HP recovery 2, right? 40% HP heal the first time you sync. That's a lot. That is definitely a lot. You also have Ice Guard and Fire Guard, right? Depending on what stages you have to face. Ice Guard would be nice in the scenario where you have to high score event, right? You have Vigilance over here built in, which is nice. You got a lot of other healing stuff. Trainer move, hit and heal. You got the team HP recovery thing when you use moves in ice zone, right? So again, it's not even just like a good tank personally, but again, just a lot of things that helps your team tank as well, right? With the team-wide damage reduction, team-wide defensive buffs, team-wide heals and stuff, right? Quick cure, just a lot of stuff. And also your big B move over here, which is the activation condition does need your defense to be raised, which again, very easy. Trainer move, boom, you got it, right? And then you do have this avalanche thing, which does nullify an attack move that targets the user or all allies. So that's really, 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 really nice, right? So yeah, you could tank like an AoE guaranteed crit earthquake or something, right? From like a legendary arena, for example. So yeah, for your entire team. So that's really, really, really good. And you do some damage back as well. I mean, it's not anything crazy. I mean, base 120 power, but you know, it does double, right? So that's what, 240. I guess it could do some damage, right? Like if you wanted to, for example, let's compare it to Iono. Let's see. I mean, if you do give the EX roll, Iono definitely would be doing more. But yeah, like this is 240, right? But you know, Iono does have higher base special attack versus the base physical attack for Grusha, but you know, it could do something. But he also doesn't have like, he can't really max out his own offenses, right? And most of the time you'd just be running one support. So anyways, I'm just trying to say, don't expect too much damage out of that. I know we've been getting used to some really high damaging supports recently, but you know, it's not going to be nothing either, right? It's going to be a nice middle ground, leaning towards more damage, right, for supports. So yeah, that's cool. And then outside of that, in terms of buffs for like a support, we already talked about the team defensive buffs. You also have team max crit with our hit alt plus. There's also a team sharp entry one, so you know that could save your turn if you want. You also have some minors, you know, attack and speed buffs. You have this pep rally on your trainer move, which could buff your team's speed by 1, right? Obviously you could get 3 of those on your trainer move, so you get +3 there. And there's team fierce entry too, which +2 attack for your team. But yeah, you can't really get more than that, but you know, most time it's fine. Most physical damage dealers, they could at least get 2. Most of the time they get 4, right? Physical attack for themselves, so you should be fine there, right? You also have the chance to flinch and freeze with your main, you know, damage like move. Damage in terms of it does damage, not that it's like a good like way of damage, you know, output, right? But yeah, it's Ice Fang, 10% chance to freeze and flinch. You also have super interference too, right? Although it's not like a huge chance, unless you get that other super interference too in the grid, which I think is 5 out of 5. Yeah, it's 5 out of 5. So there is there's that. And then you also have attack, special attack, and defense debuffs. In your B move, right at the end there, it does also mention that you debuff the opponent's special attack and physical attack by 3, right? It has 2 MP, so you could take out like one opponent's just attack and special attack, like -6, right? So that's pretty nice. And then you also have defense crush 9 at 5 out of 5. It's 5 out of 5, so you know, yeah. But you know, theoretically, if you have the resources, you can make it so that you know, you get defense crush there, right? And then there's also earlier 4 out of 5, there's like a team status immunity, right, which could be helpful in some niche scenarios. So yeah, that's a lot of the upsides. As for some of the issues with the unit, first of all, it is slow, right? You know, base 335 speed at 6-star EX is not very fast. It's not a 1 gauge spammer either, it's a 2 gauge unit. The B move doesn't cost any gauges, but again, that's only like 2 MP, right? And you do have some help. You do have the quickly, you know, move gauge, recharge, and ice zone. And then you also have Revenge Boost 9, right? But and I guess Pep Rally, but again, it's not gonna be like a quick. It's not gonna be a very fast unit. It's not gonna be an incredibly slow unit either. It's just like slow-ish, right? Slow-ish. The grid is kind of expensive, I want to say, right? There's just a lot of really, really nice things, which I mean, it's not that much of a downside, just because it's bad because there's a lot of good things in here, right? One of those kind of scenarios like Trainer Sync Redemption, you almost always want to get, right? And then after, which already costs you 10 energy, and then, you know, if you want, make sure your team speed is good, you got stuff like Pep Rally over here, which costs 10. Defense Crush costs another 10, and to get, you know, through that, you know, either a 8 or 10 cost grid tile over there, right? If you do have 5 out of 5. Super Interference costs a lot there as well, right? Like these are all like 10 energy, big nodes. Vigilance, right? Revenge Boost, that's another big one you probably want to pick up in most builds, right? So yeah, like these HP recovery stuff, like a lot of very expensive nodes. So that's the thing over there. The EX roll kind of sucks. It's tech. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get a bit, you know, you get a bit defenses and HP, right? Like the stats are nice to get, but in terms of your sync, it doesn't really do anything, right? It's not like a big sync nuke or whatever. And then the B move is kind of risky. Again, I don't feel like any of these are like a huge con, right? This one included. Like, it's kind of risky because, you know, if it's not a scripted stage, you could go into defense posture and then like the opponent doesn't like attack you for like 3 turns in a row. Like, they just buff their stats or whatever, or they miss their moves, or they get flinched, whatever the heck, and like boom, you just missed out like 3 Qs from this one Grusha, which would hurt a lot, right? But yeah, I mean, you know, it gives you a good return, right? The entire like team defense, right? Which is again very good in scripted stages, like those legendary gauntlets and stuff. So, you know, again, risk reward thing. I'd say the rewards are pretty nice. So again, I don't feel like any of these cons are huge cons, but they're not like, you know, they exist, right? They're real. So, all right, moving on. Let's talk a bit about the, you know, Synchrid and lucky skills. So in terms of lucky skills, you could give it vigilance. I know it has it on the grid, but again, it is kind of expensive. But on the other hand, if you do have him like 5 out of 5, I guess going down here isn't that bad. Just because, you know, you're getting defense crush, right? You're getting pep rally, you're getting, you know, and then you could just pick up vigilance along the way. But again, it's an expensive grid, right? If you also want to go up there, get, you know, sync redemption, and then you also want to get revenge boost, then that's kind of tough, right? That is kind of tough. So yeah, maybe vigilance would be a nice lucky skill to pick up there. Just again, it's an expensive grid, right? Otherwise, you could get maybe one of those the speedy entry too, right? Maybe give it a bit more speed, or one of those move gear fresh stuff, or I don't know. I feel like those are the main ones. And as usual, head start / adrenaline, depending on, you know, the rest of your team, right? I guess head start would be a nice one, especially if you are maybe like fighting a master mode, one of those faster stages that do a lot of damage really early, so you could use your B move without worrying too much about the drawback of like a 2-turn move, right? So that, you know, head start would be a nice one there as well. In terms of the sync grid, so let's start 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. I guess you don't have that much, right? This is definitely a unit I feel like you kind of want to go for 3 out of 5 at least, right? For that sync redemption, for that revenge boost maybe, right? So, but you know, 2 out of 5 you could pick up pep rally over here, hidden heal, right? It's for himself, but you know, it's something at least. Maybe go down here. Whoops, no, not that. Pick up quick here. There's also a plus 20 HP over there. Maybe the mighty sync if you're gonna EX him, so something like this perhaps. Or if you want a bit more gauges, then go with the move gauge over here. Maybe if you don't need quick cure, then something like this. Depending on the stage, ice guard, fire guard, right, all that stuff. And then 3 out of 5. Wow, again, it's heavily gonna depend on what stage you're fighting, right? If you want to pick up stuff like ice, fire guard, all that stuff, quick cure, etc. But I feel like most of the time you would want trainer sync redemption 1, unless it's just a really fast stage, or if you're not running him with an ice team, which, you know, you don't have to run him with an ice team, but obviously if you do run an ice team, you do have that really big bonus of having ice on there, right? So I feel like most people probably want to run it with an ice team, right? So yeah, you got that. If it is like one of those stages where, again, they hit pretty hard pretty early, right? Maybe you want to pick up this HP recovery on the first sync as well, right? Like, you know, in a master mode situation, if you need the extra physical attack buffs, you run that out as well, right? Again, this is more of like a theoretical like master mode situation, right? You can maybe even pick up the Team Mighty sync as well. Right, something like that. As for the rest, you don't have too much. Maybe you pick up like a move gauge refresh. Maybe you one of these guards if you need them, or just some stat notes. I don't think you could pick up anything else substantial, right? Yeah, just because of how costly these are, but I'd say otherwise, you know, try to aim to get that revenge boost as well. I feel like, right? So you could have this team HP recovery, you get revenge boost here. As for the rest, you could do, you know, you can either get pep rally here or hit and heal, depending on which one you need more, right? Both these are good stuff. Or again, if you need the Fear Sentry, you could do that. Again, if you pick up Fear Sentry, you could also just straight up just pick up Mighty Sync 9, which is nice. Again, faster stages, right? And as for over here, I don't know. I mean, quick cure again really depends on the scenario. You could still pick up this the HP healing thing as well if you need that. Team Sharp entry, sure, right? Again, saves you a turn from using another Dire Hit All Plus, but I don't feel like Ice Fang is that significant enough that you really have to think about the turns, because again, Ice Fang is just kind of whatever, right? You know, I don't feel like most people would mind using an extra turn or two just to use another Dire Hit All Plus, so I don't care too much about this Team Sharp entry. But yeah, as for 4 out of 5, again, this highly situational, so just pick up if you really need it. 5 out of 5 is where you do get that defense crush, where it would make Ice Fang a bit more useful, right? In this case, yeah, I guess in this case you probably won't want to pick up Revenge Boost, and you might want to just get the Pep Rally and Hit and Heal here, which, you know, because you're defense crushing, you're attacking a lot, so the Hit and Heal would be nice. Super Interference is tough just because it is very expensive. You'd have to drop Pep Rally, which is kind of tough because in this scenario you won't have like any other like gauge support, and like other than you flinched the opponent, you get like a few like extra milliseconds of gauge over here or whatever, right? Or freeze. So yeah, you could probably do that. But you know, it's not like a terrible thing just because it's probably going to be like a longer stage where your defense crush is going to be in there, right? So I guess in that scenario it might be worth it, but again, losing out on the speed is going to be rough. It's going to be very, 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 very tough, I feel. So anyways, yeah, those are some of the, I guess, synchro options you go for. Again, supports, right? Yeah, do keep in mind, I don't usually talk about team building with supports just because supports really just depends on the opposing stage, and you know, there's just too many factors, right? But this is a bit of a more specific one, so I'll just mention it. We have like 2 ice zone setters, I believe, right now, right? And Irida is more of like a special ice zone setter, and then Grusha is more of a physical one, right? Because you do have that Mighty Sync, Fear Sentry too, right? You don't have defense crush. You don't have to run it with physical, you know, ice units only, but it is slightly more geared toward physical. So yeah, something like that Silver Sneasel would be very, 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 very nice, right, to run with, especially since Sneasel can help with a lot of like the gauge issues, right? So anyways, all right, that's that, I guess. Overall, of all the supports that we have coming out, like we've been getting a lot of really good supports lately, right? But in the case of like, if we're just looking at supports for the sake of supports, I do feel like stuff like Iono or that Meloetta with Champion Rosa, I feel like those two are probably better to go for, right? I'd probably take him over the nearest Claire though, if you're trying to go for supports. But again, he does have that extra factor of it's not just a support, it's also an ice zone setter, right? So that does give him you know, a few points there. But overall, it's a pretty solid unit. It should be really nice. It's just that, you know, the ice zone, like ice type units, physical ice units, I mean, overall, ice, physical, special, they're all kind of well, there's not too much variety. Like the good ones are really good, right? Like Irida's really good. Sneasel is very good, right? But you know, in that like sort of high tier area, there's not too much. There's, you know, again, there's a few top tier ones, but so that could be a bit tough. But you know, something like a Holiday Leon would still be nice, right? with this guy. So all that considered, I'd say maybe like a 8 out of 10, right? Again, I'd probably prioritize the other two supports over this one, but you know, if you have a decent amount of really good supports and you just you know, want that extra ISO insider, then sure, go for it, right? Or if you're just a huge Grusha /Cetitan fan, then yeah, as well. So anyways, yeah, that's one. This one. I hope y'all jump the guys think in the comments up below. Like, enjoy the videos from our channel. Some more Pokemon is going. I'll see you guys in the next one then.